Hey guys, welcome back to another college math video. In this one we're going to be talking about installment buying. Again, we're expanding on that a little bit more. So we are going to use unpaid balances to determine the average daily balance method to determine. That's another common way that these are done. And we're also going to be comparing different loans. So the unpaid balance method is when the borrower is charged interest or a finance charge on the unpaid balance from the previous charge period. So we'll use that interest equals principal times rate times time, but it just recalculates principal with the unpaid balance. In October, Ed charged all the supplies for his Halloween party to his Visa. On November 5th, the billing date, Ed has a balance of $275, balance due of $275. From November 5th through November 4th, he did some shopping and charged items totaling $320, and he also made a payment of $145. Determine the finance charge due on December 5th, Ed's next billing date. Using the unpaid balance method, assume that the interest rate charged is 1.3% per month. So we've got a couple things going on to figure out the total amount due, but we're just going to find the finance charge first. So we're going to use the formula interest equals principal times rate times time. So since he had the $275 and the rate is going to be 1.3% per month, we're going to factor in how much interest that would be for 1 month, for that month from November 5th through December 5th. That will calculate our interest. So that's 275 times, whoops, not 1.3, but 1.3%, which would be 0.013. And then times 1, that's $3.58 interest. So to determine the account balance, well, we know he had $275 plus the $3.58 in interest plus the $320 that he spent the next month, and then minus the payment that he made of $145. So the $358 plus the $275 plus $320 minus a payment of $145. That gives us a total of $453.58. So we got that by adding the interest plus all the money spent and subtracting the payment. All right, we're going to look at average daily balances. So the balance is determined each day. Obviously, only when there's a transaction does it matter. And the finance charge or interest charged on the average daily balance instead. So you would add up each day's balance and then just divide by how many days that was. Again, we're going to do interest equals PRT, and then P will be the average daily balance though. All right, the balance on Stephen's credit card account on July 1st, the billing date was 375.80, and then the following transactions occurred during the month. So it was 375.80. And then there was a payment made of $150. So that's $225.80. And then there was a charge. So now the total, the balance is $3.15. And then another charge. I'll add that on. And then another charge of $42.50. $466.15. So those are the balances after each of those things. We're going to determine the average daily balance for the period. So kind of what I started writing already, 375.80 minus the 150 is 225.80. And then we're going to add the 74, that's $300.15, plus the 123, that was 423.65. And then our last balance there is 466 and 15 cents. So we have all those totals that we did up above. Now we're also going to figure out the number of days the balance did not change. So from the 1st through the 5th, we had the balance of 375, so that is 4 days. It's as simple as subtracting 5 minus 1. Same thing with the 5th through the 10th. 10 minus 5 is 5 days. 18th, or the 10th through the 18th, that would be 8 days. And then from the 18th to the 28th, that's 10 days. And then until August 1st, there's 31 days in July, so the 28th, 29th, 30, and 31st. It does not change, and that goes up until the 1st of August. So now we'll multiply the balance times how many days it had that balance, because that's how you're going to find out the average, because then we'll just divide by the number of days, which would be 31. So 4 days times the 375, that's 1503.20. And then $225 times the 5 days, it's $11.29. Then I had a balance of $300.15 for 8 straight days. And then the balance was $423.65 for 10 days. I'll type it in. That's easy though. I'll just move the decimal. And then 466.15 times 4 days. So to finish this, we're going to figure out the sum. This would be 31 days, July 1st through August 1st. That's 31 days, because July has 31 days. We're going to add up all of these totals that we had. So the 1864.60 plus the 4236.5 plus 2401.2 plus 1129 plus 1503 and 20 cents. So we add up all of that, we get 111.3450. So that's the total balance of all the days added up. Then we're going to divide by 31. Sum of the balances divided by the number of days. It's 359.18. So that is the average daily balance. The sum of all of those divided by the 31 days in the month. It's an average of 359.18. Now, obviously, if you spent on your card like every day, you'd be changing your balances a lot, and that would be a lot more math to get involved there. Using a spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets or something like that would be a pretty good way to simplify those calculations. Alright, so here we are just continuing this problem. Same information. The average daily balance is 359.18. That's from the previous page. What we just got. So now we're going to determine the finance charge to be paid on August 1st. Assuming that the interest rate is 1.3% per month. So we're just, again, interest equals PRT. But this time we're taking the average daily balance as our principal. Our rate is 1.3%, so 0.013. And then the time, that's just 1 month. So that's $4.67. There's your, that's your finance charge. That's all the fees. Which means that the balance due on August 1st would be the $4.67 plus the amount that's on the card at the end of the month, not the average, but the actual amount that's on the card. So let's go back here. After that last charge was made, it was $466.15. And then we add on our interest. It'll be $470.82. All right, now we're going to compare some loans. Bobby got a cash advance of $1,500 from his credit card. He borrowed the money on July 10th and paid it back on July 31st. Bobby is charged an interest rate of 0.05477% per day. How much should Bobby pay the credit card company on July 31st? So, there's a $1,500, so we're taking our same formula. Interest equals principal times rate times time. That principal is $1,500. The rate is 0.05477 per day, which would be 0.00, and then, because now we're changing that percent to a decimal, 0.5477. And that's per day, so then we need number of days here from the 10th through the 31st. That's 21 days. $5,477 times 21 days. That is that's wrong because I typed in too many zeros there. So instead of 172, or instead of 15,000, I should have been 1,500. I just had too many zeros there. Let me see if I can go back and change it. All it's going to do is move that decimal point one spot to 17 instead of 172. 1725. All right, so that's our interest. That's our finance charge. That's the amount charged in interest. So how much would you have to pay the credit card company? Well, you've got to pay that plus the amount you borrowed. So the $1,500 plus the $1,725 would be $1,1725. All right, Brandon wants to buy a new couch. Purchase price is $1,250. If he buys the couch today and pays cash, he'll have to take the money out of his savings account. Another option is to charge the couch on his credit card, take it home today, and pay for it next month. Next month, he will have the cash and can pay the credit card without paying any interest. The simple interest rate on the savings account is 6 1/4%, 6.25%. How could he save by using his credit card instead of taking the money from his savings account? So this is saying that he's going to be losing out on the interest that his savings account would get. And this is because his credit card will not charge him interest that very first month, which is actually pretty common. They don't charge interest until after you don't pay the entire credit card off. So if you only made a partial payment, that's when they start to charge interest usually. So so how much could he save? That's what we're going to look at. He's going to be saving the amount of interest that his savings account will be adding on. So we need interest equals principal times rate times time. So it's that $1,250 times the rate is 6.25%, which would be 0.0625. And then the time would be 1 month. Now this 6.25%, that's for a year. So when we're talking time, we're only talking 1/12 of the year. So we can multiply this out. times 1/12 really just means divided by 12. So that's 651. So that's the amount of interest that his $1,250 would have gained in this savings account. Would have been $6.51. So that would be the amount of money he would save by using a credit card that's not going to charge him until the next month anyway. Just adding on to that, I've talked about it in a different video, but no credit or no savings account is going to give you that high of a percent, but that's okay. It'd be under 2% for sure. All right, Sarah needs to borrow $10,000 to remodel a bathroom. She finds a local bank charges 5.5% simple interest on the amount borrowed and requires the loan to be repaid in 12 equal monthly payments. Meanwhile, her credit union offers $10,000 to be repaid in 18 monthly payments of $1,593.66. So we're comparing local bank and credit union. So for the first at the local bank, it's interest. It says simple interest, so it's interest equals PRT. The principal is $10,000. The rate is 5.5%, so 0.055. And the time is 12 months, which would be 1 year. So that's $550 in interest. What's the APR for the local bank? So remember, we're looking at the chart here. We're looking at 12 months, and what was that, 5.5%. That intersects there at 3.00. And we set that equation up with the interest over the principal. Made a little mistake. Interest over the principal, which equals that 5.5, which gives us the actual APR, looked at it backwards here, would be 10%. So now we're going to look at the credit union, how much interest is charged by the credit union. And the credit union is charging 18 payments of $593.66. That's 18 payments. So we can multiply that out to figure out how much total money will be paid. So it's a total of $10,685. And 88 cents. And the amount borrowed is $10,000. So that means that the $685.88 is interest. And then using our formula and the chart, we're going to take that 685.88 out of the principal amount borrowed. It's 0.068588. Times 100 to change that to a percent. So that's 6.86. This was 18 months. 6.86. Perfect. That's 8.5%. So if you're just comparing the APR, that's what you do have a lower APR with the credit union than you do the bank, 8.5 instead of 10%. But it's spread out over longer, so the total amount of interest paid, different way to look at it. You do pay less interest by paying it back faster at the bank because you only paid $550 to the bank. And that's kind of why this doesn't say which loan is better, because that's up to you. You can look at, do you want the lower interest over more months, or do you want higher APR but less months and you actually save a little bit of money in the long run? It's kind of up to you. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. You can find the homework in the Files tab and get that done and submit it to Student View.